Beloved soul, pause where you are and take a slow, intentional breath, because this moment did not wander into your life by coincidence or timing error. It arrived precisely when heaven determined your spirit was ready to hear what your mind has been struggling to name. And if you have been carrying an unspoken heaviness around your work, your finances, or the direction your career seems to be pulling you toward, that weight has not been random. It has been forming quietly because something beneath the surface of your life has already begun to shift. And when God prepares to move someone into a new season, He often begins not with visible change, but with internal pressure, especially in the place where you spend your days giving your energy, your discipline, your creativity, and your obedience. Because work is not just where you earn provision, it is where identity is tested, refined, and prepared. And lately, your work environment has been under spiritual examination. Even if you could not explain it in words, you felt it in the tension that rises before the day begins, in the strange fatigue that settles in even after rest, in the quiet thoughts that surface late at night, asking whether this is truly where you were meant to remain, followed immediately by fear, reminding you of responsibilities, stability, and the risk of change. And hear this clearly now. This is not laziness. This is not ingratitude. This is not weakness. This is the signal that God is awakening a deeper layer of purpose within you. Because when Scripture says God is doing a new thing and it is already springing forth, it is not describing noise or chaos. It is describing the subtle moment when the old space can no longer contain who you are becoming. And that discomfort you've been feeling is not the ending of your usefulness, it is the beginning of your expansion. Because heaven does not uproot what is unprepared. Heaven stretches what has proven faithful. And you have been faithful in places that did not fully honor what you carried. God has watched you show up with excellence in environments that gave you minimal recognition. He has seen how you chose integrity when shortcuts were available, how you carried responsibility without applause, how you continued to serve even when appreciation ran thin. And He has heard the quiet question you whispered to yourself before walking into work, the one you never said out loud, the one that asked why you were still there when your spirit felt like it was slowly shrinking. And today is not just another passing day. Today is the beginning of an answer forming. Because if these words are settling into you, it is because your work life has been weighed, not judged in failure, but reviewed in readiness. Your consistency, your honesty, your discipline have produced something heaven refuses to leave undervalued. And that is why the pressure has increased. That is why patience feels shorter. That is why small frustrations now feel heavier than they used to. Because growth always irritates confinement, and your spirit is responding to a ceiling it can no longer ignore. What you are experiencing is not rejection, it is preparation. There are movements happening concerning your name that you have not yet heard, eyes that have been watching your work ethic quietly, voices that have noticed your calm under pressure, your reliability when others withdrew, your willingness to carry weight without complaint. And while your mind has been focused on bills, timelines, and security, heaven has already been rearranging details you cannot yet see. Because your job was never meant to be only a paycheck. It has been the training ground shaping the next version of you. And for some, this shift will look like elevation within the same organization. For others, doors will open in spaces you never applied to. For some, it will be a complete redirection into a field you never imagined for yourself. And for a few, God is preparing to build something through you that does not yet exist. But every one of these paths begins the same way. Heaven refuses to let you remain in a place that diminishes your spirit. You have been giving more than you have been receiving, carrying responsibility without recognition, solving problems without credit, being the quiet stability of entire systems while remaining unseen. And God has seen every moment you thought was invisible. Not a single effort was wasted. And now your financial atmosphere is shifting, not because you forced it, but because heaven has declared that your season of being undervalued is complete. That is why your emotions feel unsettled at work. That is why your spirit resists settling. That is why environments you once tolerated now feel too tight, too loud, too limiting, because your surroundings are shrinking while your calling is expanding. And expansion always demands realignment. Something is moving beneath the surface. Something is aligning beyond your awareness. Something is preparing to break open. And this shift will not be small or silent. It is structural, intentional, and already forming in unseen places. You are not losing motivation. You are losing tolerance for what no longer matches your worth. Tolerance for being underpaid, overlooked, misunderstood. And heaven is lowering that tolerance on purpose so you cannot remain in a space that cannot sustain your next chapter. God always changes the person before he changes the environment. He stretches capacity, sharpens discernment, strengthens voice, clarifies identity, and only then does he adjust the world around you to match who you have become. That is why familiar conversations now feel different. That is why the same building carries a strange tension. It is not anxiety, it is alignment pressing against limitation, and alignment always wins. People will begin treating you differently even if you never announce change, because your spirit shifted first. Your presence carries weight now. Your silence holds authority. Your ideas land differently. And some will feel unsettled by that without understanding why. And hear this clearly regarding your provision. Heaven is not upgrading your struggle. Heaven is upgrading your source. God is not asking you to push harder. He is positioning you to work wiser, to work where your gift is honored instead of drained. That inner voice saying you cannot stay here forever is not fear, it is confirmation. Conversations are already happening. Opportunities are forming. Doors are preparing to open. And when the shift becomes visible, you will look back and realize heaven was never breaking you, it was building you. And now you are ready. There were moments when you felt misunderstood, when your intentions were questioned, when your heart felt unseen. You tried to explain yourself, to clarify, to be understood, only to realize that some people were not equipped to hear you. That realization can sting. It can make you doubt your voice, your value, your place. But love was protecting you even there. Not every space deserves your explanation. Not every ear is meant to receive your truth. Learning when to be silent is not suppression, it is wisdom. You were learning discernment. You were learning to guard what is sacred within you. As you grew, certain connections loosened their grip. Some relationships ended without closure. Others faded quietly, without conflict, leaving behind questions you never fully answered. You replayed conversations, searched for mistakes, wondered what you could have done differently. But often, endings are not about failure. They are about alignment. Some people are meant to walk with you only for a season. Not because they are bad or you are difficult, but because growth changes requirements. What once fit no longer does. Love does not force continuity where there is no longer harmony. It releases without resentment. It trusts the timing of separation as much as the timing of union. You have likely noticed that your tolerance for shallow interactions has diminished. Small talk exhausts you. Performative connections leave you empty. You crave sincerity, presence, depth. This is not because you are antisocial or withdrawn. It is because your inner world has expanded. You have touched something real, something grounding, something that does not fade when circumstances change. Once you experience that kind of depth, surface-level substitutes no longer satisfy. Your soul recognizes the difference, and love will not allow you to numb that awareness just to belong. There were times when you felt torn between gratitude and grief, grateful for what you had survived, yet grieving what you had lost along the way. Both can coexist. Healing does not require you to erase the past or pretend it did not hurt. Love does not demand denial. It invites honesty. It allows you to acknowledge the wounds without letting them define you. You are allowed to mourn what could have been while still trusting what will be. Those emotions do not cancel each other out. They make you human. They make you real. You may have wondered why you feel things so deeply, why joy feels expansive, but sorrow feels consuming, why beauty moves you to tears and pain lingers longer than you wish it would. Sensitivity can feel like a burden in a world that rewards hardness, but it is also a gift. It allows you to perceive nuance, to empathize without effort, to connect beyond words. It allows you to notice what others overlook. Love has not tried to dull this part of you. It has been teaching you how to steward it without letting it overwhelm you. Sensitivity paired with wisdom becomes strength. There were moments when you almost settled, when exhaustion made compromise tempting, when loneliness whispered that less was better than nothing, when you considered shrinking your needs to fit into spaces that could not truly hold you. But something within you resisted. Even when you could not articulate why, you felt a quiet refusal. That was love protecting your future. That was your spirit refusing to betray itself. You were spared from choices that would have cost you more than they offered. And though restraint felt painful in the moment, it saved you from deeper pain later. You have carried questions about your purpose, about whether your life will amount to something meaningful, about whether the sacrifices will be worth it. Those questions do not make you faithless, they make you reflective. Purpose is not always loud or obvious. Often it unfolds subtly through the way you show up, the way you listen, the way you remain kind in a world that hardens people. Impact is not always measured in visibility. Sometimes it is measured in consistency, in quiet faithfulness, in the lives you touch without ever knowing the full effect. There is a reason you've been drawn towards stillness lately, a reason solitude has felt necessary rather than lonely, a reason your spirit seeks quiet spaces where you can hear yourself think, where your heart can settle. This is not withdrawal, it is integration. You are gathering the pieces of yourself that were scattered by busyness, expectation, and noise. Love is teaching you how to be present with yourself without judgment, how to rest without guilt, how to trust without needing constant proof. You may not see it yet, but something is aligning. The lessons you thought were random are forming a pattern. The delays you resented are creating stability. The skills you developed in obscurity are preparing you for moments of clarity. When the next chapter begins to unfold, it will not feel chaotic, it will feel grounded. You will recognize it not by excitement alone, but by peace, not by urgency, but by resonance. It will feel like coming home to yourself. There will be people who meet you in that next season and wonder where you have been all this time. They will see the confidence, the calm, the depth, without knowing the cost. They will not see the nights you questioned everything, the moments you almost gave up, the strength it took to keep going without applause. But you will know, and you will carry that knowledge with humility, not pride, because love has taught you that becoming is rarely glamorous, but it is always meaningful. So remain gentle with yourself. You are still unfolding, still learning, still becoming. Do not rush what is being carefully built. Do not dismiss the progress that cannot yet be seen. Trust the quiet work happening beneath the surface. Love has not brought you this far to abandon you now. It is still guiding, still protecting, still preparing. And as you continue forward, step by step, moment by moment, let this truth anchor you. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being led with intention. What lies ahead will require the depth you have gained, the discernment you have learned, the resilience you have developed. You will understand one day why the road narrowed, why the pace slowed, why the solitude was necessary. Until then, rest in what you know now. You are held, you are seen, You are loved with a love that does not waver when circumstances do. And that love is quietly, steadily, faithfully carrying you toward what comes next.